Hi, you're listening to the In Motion podcast. I'm your host, Austin Jameson. Today, we have a special guest, Sean McDonnell. He's one of my favorite comedians in Vancouver. We've been running a show together for the better part of a year called Hot Take. It's a show in which comedians eat spicy chicken wings on stage while they do stand-up comedy. It's hilarious. Please welcome Sean McDonnell.
You are listening to the In Motion podcast with your host, Austin Jameson.
I wonder what's gonna happen to you. Hey. Okay. There's a bunch of bugs all around you. What are you gonna do now? Run around? Cry about it? Hey, every day I'm doing science things on the computer, man. Hey, Hey. I wonder what's gonna happen to you, man. Hey, what's gonna happen to you, man?
Next week, we'll be finding out how many carrots.
How you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good, my friend.
Yeah?
Doing pretty good.
You recently just became a full-time stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I got fired. I got fired. It's so weird where, like, everyone tells me how, like, exciting. Actually, the one thing that I've been told about going full-time is everyone's like, it'll never happen. Like, there'll never be a good moment for it. Like, it'll just kind of happen, or you'll have to, or it'll be this.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that moment where I got fired, and then I was like, looks like I'm just doing this full-time. Didn't realize how many full-time comedians applied for EI. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, a lot of full-time.
So many of them.
Sponsored by the government.
Yeah. No, that one, I just, like, lost my job. I got laid off from Tesla. Tesla Motors.
Tesla Motors.
Yeah, pretty fucking crazy.
And that had to do with the recent massive stock dropping, I'm guessing?
I mean, they never said that. They never said it, but it's so clear.
It's so
that, like,
obvious.
That, like, just the stock just nuked. And then immediately they were like, okay, we're going to have to let 4 of you go. And I was just like, that's fair.
Is that because Elon kept dumping stock to pay for
Twitter?
I
mean, that's a huge part of it. Yeah. Is like he started dumping it, and then a lot of like employees, because when you start working there, you get 10 grand. I really shouldn't be saying any of this on the camera. You get like 10,000 in stock, and they like slowly pay it out to you.
Okay.
But it seemed
that's
like
awesome.
I do pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot of the comedians, a lot of the workers there, not a lot, but from some that I heard were like, oh, I don't know whether to sell or this.
Right.
And so I think that put a lot of panic throughout the company.
It was foolish for them to sell.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's the #1 electric car model on the planet,
like
so.
if I was never given the stock.
Oh,
I wasn't there. Like I wasn't there long enough. Yeah, I wasn't on with full time.
Oh, okay.
It was so strange too, because like I lost. I'm dispelling so much information that now I know I'll just like never be able to work there. I'll never be able to work there again after this.
We'll bleep Tesla. We'll just say
you'll just say the #1 electric car
company.
And people will be like, "Oh shit, dude, Volkswagen, hell yeah!" Yeah. I was in a weird position where my boss, who I really liked, my boss was cool. He's like, "I can't like promise you a job here unless you're willing to go full time." And that same day I talked to a coworker of mine and I was like, what's your longest, like, how many hours have you done in a week? Because like at that point I was doing 10-hour days.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the most you've done in a week? He's like, one time I did 100 hours.
Jesus.
I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I slept here. Like I was doing 100 hours. I was doing 15-hour days and I would just fall asleep here. Just wake up the next morning, it was the same thing. I was like, God damn, like, what?
For what?
Just,
are people buying cars in the middle of the night, dude?
People were buying cars, but you have to like ready them. You have to do so many things.
Detailing and all that kind of
stuff. You have to bring them over to detailers. You have to do like a inspection of it. You have to do so many things. You have to find someone to pair it and like sell the car too. So it was just crazy. So now I'm full time, which feels amazing. Weirdly good.
I feel amazing about it, but I'm not.
It feels great. It feels because when I found out that I like lost my job, there was like the full panic of like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? And then I started kind of looking at my calendar and I was like, I'm actually making enough money. Like,
it's amazing.
I'll be fine. It won't be a good life for now.
Not yet.
For now.
Not yet.
Won't be a good life for like a year, but then it'll be Kanye West.
Did you find that while working there, that you had to sacrifice anything when it came to comedy at all? You know?
So much.
Yeah, right.
You probably saw it from
I
a
kind
huge
of
standpoint
did
of it.
notice a little bit.
Because it would be like they would have you on 6 days a week.
Right.
I was mostly part-time, so I like really put my foot down and was like, I can only do 2 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm only going to do 2 days a week with you guys, or else it's going to take away from everything else that I want.
Yeah.
And then it got to end of quarter, and they're like, we really need people.
Good for you for figuring out your priorities.
Yeah.
though. Like that's really hard, especially when people have the opportunity to be able to like live in a comfortable situation. I think that's like the antithesis of like fucking throwing your dreams away. Like
100%.
Getting comfortable is like that's the easiest way to just.
Well, like one coworker, it was kind of weird, like how much reflection I had from coworkers. Like you've probably seen this as well, but there's been so many coworkers who were involved in the arts that I've had in the past, where I'm like, were so many of them. I'm like, this could have been me. Like this could be me. This could be me.
Man, yeah.
Like
that's
yeah,
That's
and like
the
great
biggest thing.
people.
Yeah,
that's
great
the thing.
people.
Like
And doing good at the job that they're doing now, and you're like, and you're gonna get paid so much more doing this than you will for years and years and years trying to like go after your dream. But like, then you're doing this now.
But then you're selling cars.
Now you're selling cars. Nothing wrong with selling cars. It's just not stand-up comedy.
I always wonder if there's like any stand-up comedian that gets like that hits 50 years old and is like had their midlife crisis and then being like, I could have been huge in sales. Like I could have made it. Like, do you think Bert Kreischer right now is being like, I could have been selling boats in Florida?
No,
I could have had such a great.
I don't think Bert is.
You don't think so? You don't think like Tom Segura's out there just being like, holy shit, what if I stayed in marketing?
Dude, Bert, they came out with a study showing what the top comics are making this year. Do you know how much he's made?
How much is he making?
Made last year?
How much?
$24 million.
Damn, what?
Yeah.
With that movie too?
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is gonna sound like gawking on comedians, but like listening to Tom Segura talk about where he's like, I don't really do movies unless I really like it because it's literally not worth my time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. He's like, I'll get a paycheck for doing 4 weeks on a movie. And I'm like, I could have made this in 2 nights.
Yeah, they're starting to get into this kind of new wave of being able to own their stuff, own their ticket sales are quite a bit better and get like paid.
Yeah. Well, I've
paid
noticed so
well.
many comedians now are being like, buy tickets off my website.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, not Ticketmaster.
Yeah, even like there's been a couple where I think it's kind of cool. They'll even use Eventbrite.
Right.
Where I'm like, you're probably getting a better deal than Ticketmaster. Where
Absolutely.
people aren't getting gouged out on anything.
You know what's funny is I use Eventbrite for my job and I do not know how much they take. I've never once looked into it.
Yeah,
I've
the
never
fee
once-
I think is like per ticket. I think it's like $2 something.
Word.
It's like $2 and something, which I mean Ticketmaster will be like $15 for handling and I'm like,
Crazy.
like you just print off a receipt of that. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
geez.
absolutely insane. But yeah,
Okay, so you're full time now,
full time, man.
and you're hitting the road. Is that what you're? saying?
Yeah, I'm going away to Victoria in a little bit.
Cool.
Got some other road shows coming up. Sunshine. It's like nowhere. See, I always love when people are like, I'm going on the road. And I'm like, where are you going to? They're like, to Toronto. And I'm like, and what are you doing? They're like, open mics. And I'm like, that's not the road.
No.
Like, there's so many comedians we know
Yeah.
that'll be like, hitting the road. And
road.
I'm like, I'm not going to be the dick to tell you. But
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
no,
not
you're
the road.
not.
Yeah.
That's not the road. You're taking a vacation.
So how do you go about getting more gigs out on the road if you don't have management?
Yeah,
right?
you basically just have to
doing
hit people up yourself.
Yeah.
Be like, are you interested in this? Also, a lot of the times it's like, it's other comedians. Like so many times people will be like, how'd you get that? Or like, how did that get paired up to you? And I'm like, literally, like, I've been doing this for 7 years.
Yeah.
And a comedian that was 10 years in when I was like 2 years in, who's like, Simon King set me up with stuff.
Nice.
Just because he's like, I've known him forever. And he's like,
Forever.
yeah, you'll be able to do that room. Like,
Yeah.
I'll send you off to it.
That's great.
Where it's just like, perfect. Like, thank you. And to Simon King, I'm like, hell yeah, man.
Simon King.
So a lot of it is just like other comedians, being like, I can't do this. Do you want to do this? Or being like, this circuit's open. You should contact this person.
Right.
And it's weirdly like tight-lipped about a lot of it, because your word goes so far in stand-up
Oh yeah.
in a strange way.
Yeah.
Like,
there's
there's-
the rumor, gossip, and people
Yeah,
just talking shit and
That
stuff
and also like just vouching for someone that's dog shit.
Oh yeah.
That's like a very mean thing to say, but
Yeah,
vouching
no.
for someone's dog shit or for someone that's way too inexperienced.
Yeah.
like I've had situations where not so much me, but friends of mine, like you've probably had it. Someone vouches and then you put them on a show and they just tank it or they do like hate speech and you're like, the fuck was that, dude?
What's funny is we've actually had a pretty decent string of vouches. I haven't gotten anybody that's really put their neck out on the line for anybody, like other than just people who are booking shows and then put their bad, you know, friends or whatever on those shows. But like somebody that's like, you know, reaching out being like, hey, you know, so and so recommended me. We've had a pretty good string of that. But I know exactly what you're talking about because I've talked to other showrunners and stuff.
It seems
like
more
that.
so that it's a club. Like, well, this is a club, but it's like, it seems like it's more at like these weird, more like decrepit sort of like yucks.
Is this like, a club? I feel like comics are usually pretty hesitant to call it a club, and I don't know why.
It's like a
the distinction.
It's a weird. I know a lot of comics didn't even call Little Mountain Gallery a club because it's almost more of like an art space than it is. And clubs, I always feel there's such a corporate aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Like when I walk into a club, everyone's wearing like the same shirt.
Right.
They've all got like a go yuck. Oh yeah. I mean
we
now
do have shirts. We do have shirts.
But they've got like a thing that says go yuck yourself or something like that. Or like it feels like they all have a matching uniform that they have to wear, not something they're given the choice to.
It's funny sometimes how painfully unfunny that people at work in comedy can be when they are like deciding, like, you know, somebody that's like go yuck yourself, like the t-shirt guy that's like, this is gonna really slap and
like people the fuck up. Yeah,
it's like you work in it. Like, how does it not rub off a little bit? You know?
Well, I feel like the classic stance is that eventually every like waiter or waitress that I've known to work into a comedy club eventually are like, you know what, I think I'm gonna try it. And I'm like, don't do that. Right? Always feel like the dick of like, don't do that. Don't do that. No. We're cool. I don't want you asking me for spots. This is just gonna be weird.
Yeah. No.
I see you all the time. Now you're gonna be like, maybe I could do one of your shows. And I'm gonna be like, maybe you can go back to doing your job. Like,
I don't come around and start pouring drinks for everybody.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe not, man.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I think that's a pretty big leg up that we have here is that I have literally no interest to ever.
Yeah.
I actually I'm trying to figure out solutions right now so that I don't have to bring people up anymore. If Corey comes, I'm always pay Corey a drink. I just give him a drink and say, can you go
intro people?
Can you intro the show? Because I don't even like doing that.
Okay, really?
Well, I'm terrible at it, and you know this for fact. You do know that.
It's not like
able to call me out on it.
I know, but it always is funny too because I feel like you'll bring people up, but then it also is like it's giving a face to the venue.
Yes, yeah, that part is nice, I guess. I don't like it. I don't like being on stage. I don't like trying to like get everybody's energy up. I feel nervous when I'm going up, so then I feel like
nerves kind of comes out. Yeah,
I'm gonna give this as the vibe as our first kind of like thing. It's just not, you know. I'm trying to actually, I'm trying to find a good enough AI voice box that will do it, so that I can just have an AI
play it over loud.
Yeah, literally. I was thinking like
welcome
if I had like Danny
future.
DeVito or somebody like welcome to the MOTN, you know?
Yeah. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, you know, something like that, so I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like now Jake tattooing in the back and hearing enough comedy where he's like, I think I'm gonna give it a try.
Oh God, right? Yeah.
And just goes for it.
No, I wouldn't let anybody do that. Like I wouldn't. I've had like close friends ask for spots, and I'm like, no. Like I've known you for a while. Like you're a funny guy. Like find somewhere else to do it. Like I'll come with you. I'll come and do like I'll literally go up and like eat shit with you. Just like we'll go and do that, and that'll be fun. But not here. Like please don't.
I've had like audience members be like, how do I get on this show? And it's like, go do an open mic.
Yeah.
Go do it for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Go struggle 5 with years. Whether or not you actually think you're a decent comedian, and then like you can come on to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a great show tonight? And you are about to hear some hot takes and some hot wings go down. I want you guys to give a great warm welcome to your host for the evening tonight, Sean McDonnell, everybody! We're going for Austin, everyone. We're going for him. There you go. How you guys doing? Okay, good. I should
should maybe get it out of the way first. If you think my eyes are red, you're fucking correct. I was putting on hot sauce in the back there, and none of it was coming out, so I squeezed the bottle really fucking hard, and it exploded and went into my eyes. Yeah, and that happened like 8 minutes ago, so I'm in hell already. So hang in there. Also, thank you guys for coming. It's gonna be a really good show. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Would you guys want to see the wing? Or do you guys want to see the final wing? Alright, things have gotten too easy for me. So I actually got a pepper, a Thai pepper, and I rolled it in the sauce. Yeah, so remember, I'm doing this for you. Alright? So here we go, you guys. This is good. You can film this. Don't film anyone else's sets. You're welcome to film this. Time for a suggestion. Okay. This one says favorite world tragedy. Going off the theme of the night, without a doubt, the potato famine. Potato famine. I'm sorry, Irish dudes, you all have a great sense of humor. You are a good sense of human as well. You guys have been through a lot, but also, you gotta admit, no potatoes and like 2/3 of your population dying is pretty funny. My second draft pick would be 9/11. Alright, okay. I think I chose that second because New York won't shut the fuck up about it. Every single time I hear a New Yorker come, they always tell me about the subway, and then they tell me about 9/11, and I'm like, dude, I don't remember it. I realize that's how young I am, is I don't remember 9/11 at all. Apparently my dad said that when it happened, I threw a tantrum because I couldn't watch the TV show I wanted. And now I'm just out here watching 9/11 highlights, laughing my ass. Okay, alright. I get it, reel it back in. Yeah, that was hot. Okay, I'm gonna do.
Okay, so you're full time now. You know that was like one of the things that I had written down last year as like one of my goals. Was like
For me to go full time?
for you to go full time.
Look at it now.
Yeah, so like
So funny. You gotta write down Sean getting his dick sucked, man.
Yeah,
Just
right.
make a bunch of just weird goals for myself. Sean and Bobby need to get some pussy.
I've always just thought that being able to help facilitate someone in being able to go full time with doing what they love is like the single greatest thing I could ever really do here. Like,
yeah.
The idea, like, if you, like, and I know you will, like, when you blow up and like are out there and like being able to think that I played some small part, even though it's like way late into your journey, but being able to like help facilitate, you know, like Hot Take, being able to just like in any which way I can say that I helped somebody be able to get to that point, like even in any small way, I'm like, that's the fucking best thing.
Hell yeah,
you can
man.
do. 'Cause,
Dude,
like,
yeah, I really appreciate that.
and that's like I'm so excited for you, and I can't tell you. I think that this is gonna
like
be like
10 years from now when I'm like dead in a hotel room
Sure,
and
yeah.
I'll have overdosed in a hotel room, and you get to be like, you know, I introduced him to heroin. You get to be like,
maybe you should have stuck at the
maybe
number
he should have
one.
stayed at Tesla.
Yeah,
Maybe he should have stayed at the number one electronic cars in Canada. Yeah, no, I mean, things are going well too, like in a lot of aspects. I don't want to like, it's been a very optimistic year. It felt like in the last, and I think that's what you kind of need to do for your first like years of comedy, is getting so preachy. So also any new comedian, don't listen to anything I said. It's just been working all right for me, but I kind of like wasn't aimless, but I was like very industry reliant in that first like 5 to 6 years of being like, I'll just do so many shows as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then one day Lauren Michaels will show up to 12 Kings open mic and he'll see me and be like, why the fuck is there a homeless man dead in the corner? This kid's a star. Like that's like
I've said that so many times. Yeah, no one's ever going
like
to
no
your
one
open mic to just discover you.
Yeah, it's like it was one of those things, but I felt like I constantly was just doing stand up and trying to get good at it, and now I'm like in a place where I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Weirdly not on Instagram, because that Instagram's still like the sacred social media for me, but like
In what way?
in Instagram it feels so much more personal. Like
Right.
TikTok, I don't give a fuck. I'll post my dick on TikTok.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
Like TikTok, anyone can see. So many children have seen my cock on TikTok. No, I'm kidding. I'm obviously joking, but TikTok's one where I'm like, there's just not. Like so many people don't use it, or they'll use like a throwaway name or whatnot, and I'm doing decent enough on it where it's not just like 40 views. That means that like my sister saw it.
Right. It's getting
but
good traction.
Instagram feels like it's so personal, where it's like me talking about. I don't know, like it's a bit
Choking a
about
woman.
it's a bit about me talking about like choking women and
Right.
like. And then it'll just be like, and here's a photo of me and my girlfriend. Like, here's a photo of me and the girl I choke. Like, I see
it
it feels so weird to kind of put that into context and to have it right there. And also, so many more people I know are on Instagram.
Yeah,
I could-
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
don't
could
know
go on
very many
Instagram.
people on TikTok at all.
Yeah. So many more people I know are on Instagram and use that. And that's like kind of what's trouble. I could go on Twitter and Facebook and I could like just spell out the N-word. No one would know.
Right, on Twitter, yeah.
Twitter, maybe some 30.
Twitter is
like
a wild place.
Twitter, like 30-year-old comedians who I respected 5 years ago would know.
Right.
Like a bunch of like the 30 to 40-year-old comedians would be like, "Did you see what Sean put on Twitter?" And everyone else would be like,
Yeah.
"Who the fuck
Look,
is
is on
still
Twitter.
using Twitter?" Like,
It's so insane to me. I
Yeah.
don't know anyone like our age that is like
I was gonna say,
like really on Twitter, especially. I do think that has a little bit to do with like a regional thing. Like I think that it's more popular in the
America,
States,
yeah.
than it is here, like New York, LA kind of thing. But in Vancouver, I know very, very few people that use Twitter, and when they do, they don't post anything on it. It's just to like keep up with stuff.
news.
You know?
It is weird to meet people and be like, "Well, I have 1,000 Twitter followers," and I'll be like, "Wow, your MySpace must be huge."
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Wow, that's
What are you doing
so
on
cool."
Facebook these days?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like Facebook is another one. Of, like,
Facebook's weird because does your family have drama, like Facebook drama?
dude, all of my family is so removed from in like social media.
lucky.
It's incredible.
You're lucky. My family has like real-time disputes with one another over stuff on Facebook. Like getting unfollowed on Facebook, you might as well
Ooh.
say like you're fucking dead to me. Like
Damn.
yeah, it's a big deal. And then when friends aren't liking posts and stuff because there's
What
so
the
few, like
fuck?
yeah, my mom has like real beefs with like old school friends, like friends that she's had for 20 years, like literally 20-year friendships that have like dissipated because of Facebook beefs. Like nothing's been said, nothing's been exchanged.
That's
just one person
crazy.
getting rid of them, or like not liking a post,
Yeah.
or like commenting something out of pocket on a post or something.
I think that whole generation doesn't understand, like, these are not your real friends.
no,
And like,
this is
not even that, but I'm like, this is so removed.
it's not the
none
real,
of them.
yeah, not reality.
Yeah, none of them really grasp that, because like my dad is on Instagram, and both my parents are ones where I'm like, I feel like if I were to put you on Instagram or like Facebook and be like, say whatever you want,
Yeah.
they would be fine.
Yeah,
Like I'm kind of lucky in that way, where
Yeah.
it would just be like my mom talking about basketball.
right.
And yeah, my mom loves basketball. It would probably be like that, and then my dad, I just don't think would post anything.
Right.
Like just very stoic with
My dad
it.
posts jokes, and they're pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Are there jokes that you would be comfortable saying here?
Yeah, for the most part.
Really?
I mean, yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents are super young, right? So
Yeah, true.
So like the thing is though is I can't tell some of the times if he made jokes up or if he just saw them somewhere else and put them
Yeah.
up. But a lot of the times they'll be just like kind of like funny observations about my little brothers, or just like stuff like, man, I wish I could just go to a field and drop these boys off and drive away, just like stuff like that. And I'm like,
It's like incredible.
your bosses are like on
Man,
here.
I
like-
hate my kids.
No, it's a lot of like Dangerfield kind of like
Yeah.
that kind of era. And then yeah, my mom's like really actually like trying to be an influencer, like a mom influencer. So
How's
that's
that?
like strange in some ways. Like
I was gonna say, how's
to
that,
see
is
that
weird?
journey though, it's been interesting. Like it's been more intense at times than others, but yeah, it is weird to see like, oh, mom's got like a brand she's trying to put out.
Oh, that's
there.
hilarious,
Like,
dude.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
like, you know, an aesthetic, and she like pays somebody to help her out with it. And I'm like, why don't
Damn.
you pay me? Like I'm really good at this shit. Like why don't you pay me?
Although imagine
dude?
like your mom being like just making some food, and then she like opens it up and you've edited like brains like
Yeah,
exploding
yeah,
out of it, and
my
you're like,
style.
oh,
That's-
and my kids, and it's like a body horror example of
couldn't
like
do
a
it.
kid.
I couldn't
yeah.
do social media for anybody else because, like, it's weird you mentioned Instagram, and I've been thinking about that lately. Like, this is the first year that I've thought about making like a personal account because I've just been using like the business account for my own stuff, but I don't know if I could.
It's kind of
stop
become
at this point.
synonymous. Like
I know.
I'd say at this point, just keep doing it.
because we're putting out art and stuff, and it's people. Not everybody is necessarily all on there for comedy, and not everybody's all on there for any one kind of thing. So it's this weird thing, but right now it's been working. So I'm gonna keep doing it how it's been working. But
Well, it seems like this is like an artist space that has just a lot of heat on it right now. Like it's in good ways, in a good way. It seems like that, but it must be wild. Do you ever like find yourself getting like shade thrown at you from other spots around the community?
used to more than now. I think
Really?
that I mean, I don't know. I don't go to anywhere. Like
Yeah.
that's part of it where I'm not really seeing it. I've been to I went to one show where they were talking shit about here during the show, and I was like, that's strange, but like also
Do they know who you were? Do they know you were in the audience? Like
I think so. I don't. It was hard
music
to tell.
show?
No, comedy.
Oh, okay,
Which
yeah.
it felt like a little bit jovial, so I was like, okay. But the funniest thing I think for me was like I could say the same thing and it wouldn't land here because nobody would know who they were, right? So it was like, okay, in some way, like if we need to be that to be able to help this show out, like by like giving a laugh, so that people are like, we know that name, like good on them, like. I'm fine with that because it just is it's like promo, like, but no, like because we don't really do music that much anymore, and music is like very communal. I haven't really found like too much in the way of shade. I got in touch with the guys from LMG, Little Mountain Gallery, and they were like super nice. Like,
oh,
gave
dude,
some
yeah, they
great
rule.
Advice.
They
like,
fucking rule.
I was like, and it was, it was already on our second location. I really could have. I mean, there was a couple things that I was like, fuck, I wish I knew that, like, or had that advice, like when I was starting out. I just didn't have the wherewithal to like reach out to people or whatever.
And was it Brett or Abdul or sorry, Brent?
I've talked to both.
Yeah, great guys.
Yeah, great guys. Yeah, and so like. In that regard, I've had pretty good luck. I've tried reaching out to like more, spots and stuff like that to like, organizers and, hey, do you want to go for coffee or whatever? And people are pretty content with just like doing what they're doing for the most part. But obviously, like I'm pretty tight knit with like Aiden from like Chop and Chew, and we like work together fairly regularly and stuff too. So like I'm happy that we're kind of, it's not necessarily just this, but like we're influencing other people to be like, I'm also young and I also have a space, and I could also do that,
Well, Chop and Chew especially is such an interesting
great,
one
right?
where I walk in there and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's just all such young people, and even like their clientele. I'm like, it's just super young clientele, super young restaurant.
The owner is younger than you, right?
Dude, Cheyenne is like 23, isn't he? Yeah, Cheyenne's crazy young.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's wild, and also it's built out such a place that I find is interesting, where I had like acquaintances, I'll say friends, like friends of mine come to that show without knowing it was comedy, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, and they were like, no, the food here is just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
They're like, yeah, we come here for the food all
Food's
the time.
incredible.
Yeah, food's great.
Yeah, no, and I really kind of I respect how well they treat comics, and like, what they're able to do. Like I always hear people talking on podcasts about like the one club that they would always go to because they were able to get like some food, get a meal with it. And I'm like, that's awesome that we have that in Vancouver, that there is one spot that you can kind of go to and get that like that thing. And it's a weird room. It's so like
It's tiny, but
small
it's
and
so
cramped.
it's
It
so
can
fun.
Be very intense.
It can be very fun.
Yeah,
Or it can like
or it can be really crazy.
I've
too.
seen like the
Yeah.
soul get sucked. I've seen the Dementor's kiss be performed on comedians where it's like you're doing 20 minutes
Yeah.
and it's sometimes, and that's the thing is they're
Street
like
boxing, like
yeah, and they're a good audience, they're a fair audience,
Yeah.
but they also that's what's kind of cool is they'll take chances on a lot of people.
yes, yeah,
So they'll put someone on who's been doing stand up for like 2 years and it's like time to do 20 minutes.
right.
And I've been there where I'm like, I want to watch this.
Crazy.
Because I want to see what the fuck happens.
Yep.
Like, it's wild to see someone be like, 20 minutes? Time for crowd work for the first time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
That
Like,
is
what's happening
wild,
here? Yeah.
But there needs to be somewhere that people can be able to go and do their first 20, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, and there's really very rarely any other spot that you can go and get that much kind of time being like, you know, like Ernie did his first 20 there. You gotta be able to do it at some point,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
First 20 is big, too. First 20 is like
huge.
really big.
No, and he admitted he's like, I don't have 20. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. He went into that with the attitude of like, I do not have 20 minutes.
no.
First 20 is usually like, even first 10. I remember first 10 being like, oh, this is not what I'm used to. Where I'm like, so I take the 2 sets I have
Yeah.
and I add them together.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. Now I have my 10 minutes.
So how did we meet? What was that? We met at 12 Kings.
I think it was 12 Kings. Yeah.
12 Kings.
12 Kings we were at.
Oh, right. I remember
Yes.
now. So we
Yes.
met at 12 Kings.
Met in Mordor itself.
Mordor, yeah, we met in the Art of Darkness.
That's true. We met at 12 Kings.
I met Darcy that night as well.
I think so. And then we were all kind of talking after a show. I can't really remember what we were doing. I think it was
we
just
barely
like
talked actually that
Yeah.
night. But what I really appreciated was because you're typically at the open mic crowds, or the not crowds, but the comics that kind of move from open mic to open mic are fairly reserved and like shut in and socially awkward. And you were the only person that came up to me after the show to like introduce yourself. And I just thought right away, it was like, that's just so smart. Like, because we were just starting at, like, we had done one show at that point.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going to be doing a lot more. And I was just like, I remember telling my ex at the time, I was just like, that's so smart. Like, to just put like a name to a face and be like, hey, I exist in this world. Nice to meet you. And like, get it. You know what I mean? Like, rather than.
And that's a weird thing that I think a lot of comics, and like myself included, have kind of been dealing with, because I think there was a point of conflict between like within myself of going up, because there's always that feeling of like, I want to say hello to this person, but I also don't want to make it seem, because we all have seen people in our field and comedians where I'm like, you are such a sliming human being,
right,
where it's like,
yeah.
and that's the game, so I don't really want to fault them for it, but the amount of comedians that I see being like, hey, what's going on, buddy? And we'll like go up and just ignore everyone else and then just try and work this one person that can give them something.
Yeah.
So I'm always in a weird point, because I
Give
know
you something thing is strange, eh?
it's very strange. And I'm in a strange point where I'm like, ego-wise, I'm like, I don't want to make them think I'm like trying to extract something from this. Like, if there's a like famous comedian in the room, or if there's like a big booker, I'm like, I don't want them to think that I'm just like another leech trying to like hang off of them.
Right.
So usually I hang back.
Yeah.
But then I think that's almost worked against me, where then I've heard through like, you know, third party or whatnot, that they're like, oh yeah, that person thinks you're like aloof and cold and distant.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no. That's
perfect.
not-
I'm like, perfect. They don't
Perfect, that's
think
what
I'm
looking
trying to
for.
get anything. So that was like something I think last year I started being like, okay, like if someone seems like a nice person, they seem like a fun time.
Yeah.
Like, say what's up, at least be cordial with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but don't.
make yourself like known. You
Yeah,
know?
but don't be the guy. It's like, so I hear you're opening up a new space.
Yeah,
like it's
you
so.
know, or either be normal, or be like very upfront with that's why you're talking. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't mind that either. If somebody's like, even in introing, like, so I know you're doing this, and like this is what I'm trying to do, and like getting down to brass tacks. It's when it's somebody
Yeah, like
that,
if someone's DMing you, I
Yeah.
think that's perfect.
Or
Like,
even-
let your.
or even talking, like, because it's such an autistic group of people, comics, like, I don't even mind that kind of direct. It's just when it's somebody that's trying to, like, fake finesse, like, being interested about you or what's going on in your life, and then when you're not able to give them what you or what they want, then it's the cold shoulder. That's what
Yeah,
I get the most
crazy.
turned off from, because I'll get like DMs of people asking for spots or something, and then like be like, oh, I don't have anything this month, and then it'll just be like a
ghost.
yeah, like just like a scene, and you're just like, okay, like I get it, like yeah, you're wanting a spot, but also like that's strange, like it's just a weird way of operating, you know.
The one, because this is the first time I've really been like producing a show that people want to be a part of.
Yeah,
Before that, it was like a lot of shows like
trying to get people on.
yeah, or like kind of shitty open mics, like when I was like a year or two in.
Of course, yeah.
But it's interesting to see now where people will be like, wow, sure looked like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, sure was. And then I'll just sit there and wait and be like, are you going to ask? And then
I know exactly one
Yeah,
person that you're.
yeah, yeah.
Does
Like,
that all the time.
wow, we,
Would would love to get up sometime. Like
not even the would love to get up
Yeah.
off sometimes the people being like, man, those shows look like so much fun. Did I ever tell you I love having fun? And you're just like, all right, cool.
So we've been doing Hot Take with the MOTN for just over a year now. Literally, this month would be actually. I mean, you'd been doing it for a year up.
Yeah.
Back in
This was
October,
because
but
it was January was the first one. Yeah,
January
that's
we
crazy.
started. Do you remember we did the
2 shows in a night on the first one.
Oh right, yeah.
I remember that because I remember eating the wing on the second time and being like, "This is a fucking nightmare."
Yeah, that's.
I'm like, how is this
yeah.
worse?
Can't do it twice. No,
Yeah.
we stopped doing the 2 shows after that because it was like.
Yeah, that was awful.
It was too
That was
much.
brutal.
I'm leaking. Why do you do this, everybody? Okay, we're here outside to try the Da Bomb hot sauce that is used on the Hot Take show. Can you tell me a little bit about this sauce before we try it out?
I have no idea what's in it. It's just
If you own a local hot sauce company, you should reach out.
for real.
So we're gonna be doing some finger dollops. Okay, so what can I expect? I haven't done this.
I think this is my honest thoughts of what's going to unfold here. I think we're both going to take it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be horrendous. I'll probably panic because I will most likely just drive off in a frenzy.
Cool. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm not ready. I feel underprepared for this.
It's gonna be fun. You gotta do it sooner or later.
Okay.
Don't like dunk your finger, or else it's just gonna. Yeah, I mean.
What do you do?
Oh, the smell, dude. Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
right?
Yeah, just do a little bit.
You each dip into there. And I know some people at home are probably like, "You're a pussy. Like you're doing like
feel it
so
burning my
little."
finger already.
Yeah, right. Okay. Red dot. That's all it's gonna take. All right, you ready? Let's do it. Bottoms up. Oh.
Some dude just drove by, looked real concerned there.
I'm leaking.
Dude, I just blew my nose and then wiped my mouth with the same rag that I used to blow my nose into. I'm actually hated. They're better than I thought.
Can you try to describe the sensation?
Weirdly nauseous.
Oh yeah, this was bad.
Like my tongue's really burning.
Yeah.
I'm very nauseous as well.
Yeah. Okay, so well, we're here. Why do you do this, everybody?
For showbiz, baby. For literally, just because like so many people seem to go here and like they all get so hyped when you start doing the bomb and like decide you're gonna take that one out, and that's the reason I keep doing it. It's like the moment that you bust out the bomb, you're like, here we go. People are like, yes. What do people want?
Oh my god, I just
Gotta give the people what they need.
oh my god, it doesn't end. Oh. When does it end?
Like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah, probably about 20 minutes.
20 minutes of this? What's been your happiest memory from the two of us?
This summer, right before the fire happened. There's just like a period where I remember it was so hot.
Oh yeah.
We were at the MOTN, and I just remember we were sitting in that patio area, just having drinks, and it felt amazing. Yeah, that was a great time, and I remember I just kept being like, August is gonna be great.
I'm getting some good spits in here. You're missing out on all my spits. Okay.
Yeah,
I feel like we got it, man. We got it. But, remember we did the New Year's show as well?
that was a lot of fun. I think
was
that
a
was
lot
the
of
first
fun.
time we ever did a show together.
That was,
Yeah.
That was the first time we'd ever, like, worked together, really. We actually hadn't Like, I don't think we'd even done like coffee or anything up at that point because it was like kind of hardcore COVID shit. Still.
It was like still hardcore COVID, and still because I remember the first time like we were both vaccinated, and I remember showing up to your place and being like,
ooh, no.
I remember like showing up to your place and being like, "Are you cool if I don't wear a mask?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's fine." And I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, cool. Like we're on an understanding here."
It's strange as I was trying to think about this the other day. I probably met more people in 2021 than anybody else did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird thinking of like how it went out because I remember running a show with you and it was like that strange kind of transition period where like half the audience would be in masks, the other half wouldn't.
Yeah.
We would like check the vaccine passports, like I remember I would be like, is it this? Yeah. Whatever. I'd put in the like description, like need put COVID
right, yeah.
passport.
We'd put in the description that you did, but I'd never check.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, again, it was such a weird point. And then I remember when officially everything got lifted. Was that this summer or was that a little bit before? It was like May?
Spring, yeah.
Yeah, I remember officially when everything got lifted, it was insane.
Well, because we had been running shows, we'd never had any mandatory mask shows, which, I mean, it wasn't like on some trucker shit. I was just literally like, well, one, I don't have the manpower to like.
Yeah, and I also think that was a weird gray area. I remember going into restaurants and it was a weird thing where they're like, or like even clubs were open at that time. Yeah. Like I remember going to a nightclub that summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to a nightclub that summer and being like, is it really allowed to fucking be in here? This feels so weird.
But I didn't get sick the whole time.
No, I never got it.
This is the first time I've been sick in 3 years. Well, not now, but this past month was like the first time I was like sick in 3 years.
Yeah, it was so bizarre to run it. It's such a weird haze to me now, but trying to run shows at that time, which also made it even perfect because then once all the restrictions were lifted, a bunch of people were like, I'm going to start a show now. And I was like, we've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I've already locked in. That was actually, I think, our bread and butter because there's a lot of spots that popped up after the fact when things started to open up and being able to just like keep going through that kind of time period. So this show, you put yourself and others through, and I've done it myself, through extreme physical hurt.
Yeah, it's a pain.
It's a real pain.
Yeah, it's really bad.
And you're doing this every month, and we've stayed pretty consistent with it for the year now. So I guess like one, where did this kind of come about? Like you thinking that this model would make a lot of sense for a comedy show, and two, like what do you think about it has kept it going? Like,
I think I remember just spitballing the idea. Actually, not even spitball. I remember just hanging out and like thinking of it and being like, I feel like if a comedian were to do that, it could be a lot of fun, especially like an experienced comedian. Yeah. A lot of it was like these weird concept shows. I remember when I first started, I saw a video of, this was probably when I was 18, and I saw a video of Chris Gordon having to do a set while one of the comedians was getting a tattoo and he's afraid of needles. The video is amazing. The video is absolutely, I believe it's Chris Gordon. I might be wrong, but the video is so fucking funny.
That's cool.
And it was just kind of planted that thing of like these weird concepts where I'm like, this is so unique. There's nothing quite like it.
I love that.
And I also loved watching the interview show because so many times they would just cut past. So he would ask a question and they would just do the initial like gut response.
Yeah.
Just be like, fucking, I don't know, I hate him. And you'd be like, what? Like you have beef with like these two rappers have beef?
Right.
And it just comes out from there. So I thought that would be a great idea. And then I ran it by another comedian who he will very openly tell you if an idea is shit.
Yeah. Talking Darcy.
No, actually, Brett Skillen.
Okay.
Brett Skillen's like a very good barometer of like what's an idea and what's not. And I remember running it by him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that'll be a really funny idea."
I love
that. You should do that. And I was like, "Okay, perfect. I'm gonna do it." And then also Ola was like, "Dude, you grew up in this town. Why are you not running a show here?
Absolutely.
You should be doing like a monthly. Like, you know, so many people just in this city."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
Getting onto those and getting like a good schedule with like and consistent basis is like, would you say probably the biggest step for a comedian to be able to make that kind of transition from like working a job to being able to do what they're doing full time?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm noticing like with other people that are going full time with it, they kind of have to have like some financial backing, that like something like that's able to like, you know, be able to bring in like something or other and building up that audience, like, and that it's like the first couple of steps of like, if people are gonna fuck with you, they're gonna start at your kind of home base at least, or wherever you're stationed up as your home
and you
base.
can kind of
like,
move it from there and keep
exactly,
it moving.
yeah.
And it seems like if you want to go full time with it, you just have to be so flexible.
Right.
Of like, there's a lot of, especially now, I've never seen it more now than ever, of people who will bail on shows. And people who will like day of be like, I can't make it, sorry. And I'm like, I'll always kind of be like, why? Like, what? I've never asked. It's not my place.
Yeah, right.
But I kind of want to be like, why? And I've talked to some of these people, and they're like, oh, you know, anxiety. I'm like, then you're like, I hate
That's
to be
not a good
cruel,
answer,
but I'm like, you're in the wrong fucking business, man.
No, if
you can't,
is the
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, if you can't do this because you have anxiety, like, you should look into something else.
And these shows, I think, are typically, in my opinion, a pretty good barometer on if you've got it or not, because especially with this one, I mean, if you can perform and make people laugh during a process of that kind of pain and like keep up with your jokes and stuff, it's like, it's just these stress testers. It's like boxing with weighted gloves, and then you get into the ring and you're like, ooh, I'm actually pretty fucking light on my feet. Like, same thing with, like, you know, the truth or dares, or like the kind of improv-y kind of shows. It's like, if you can feel really comfortable and make people laugh in this, you're gonna be able to get out of so many tighter situations when like the real stress comes, when you got like a bad heckler like talking to you, or like
I would say this show is almost like the green pasture. I would almost disagree. Like, not so much this show, but this space.
Right.
Where there's like a lot of comedians that will do MOTN a lot, and I'm like, you don't realize it, but and it's great
Everywhere
because
else,
it's this, but I'm like, you don't realize it, but like, you're being pampered right now.
Right.
Like, you're in a very good spot. Like, this is not like, as far as difficult rooms go, I'm like, this room is not difficult.
No.
Like, this is, people come here to laugh. And what I also find that's so refreshing is that it's people like in close proximity to our age.
Right.
Where I'm like, you go like 5 years either way of like my age, and that's usually what the audience is made up of.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't really get that anywhere else. If you go on the road, you're gonna be eaten alive.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be a bunch of like 40-year-old oil riggers who will just be like,
yeah.
hey, fuck you, buddy. So I've almost seen the opposite, where I've seen a lot of people come out of maybe doing the MOTN and they go to another club in town that isn't so nice.
Right.
That isn't as kind.
Yeah.
And will just get their dick punched in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it's a good reputation to have.
Oh, 100%. Well,
I like hearing that, but also like, you know,
you don't want to be the room where everyone's like, oh fuck, I gotta do this. Like, everybody that I've talked to, like Tim, Darcy, Bobby and stuff, is like, oh, but I got that MOTN show on Thursday, which is tonight.
Oh yeah.
They're like, I got that MOTN show, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And they'll have that attitude of like, oh, but that one will be fun. I'll record it.
That's the kind of reputation that will travel outside of Vancouver, I hope, because I hear comics talking about smaller rooms that they really love, that are like, that they actually will go to, like specifically to go to, but are, you know, within our
dude,
kind of
like
similar capacity.
Toronto is one where every one of my friends in Toronto, I never hear them be like, but the yucks out in Toronto.
Right.
They're all like comedy bar, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
It's like the ones I hear, a lot of the corner too, but it's kind of these smaller clubs where they're like, these ones rule.
Yeah.
I never hear them being like, but the yucks.
Right.
I gotta stop shitting on yuck. I like yucks. Yucks was very good to me. Like,
you know, they've been not so good to others, and that's fine too.
That's fair. Yeah. They've always been cool to me. Yuck Surrey, pretty fun.
Yuck Surrey, I've heard, is really fun.
It is actually.
So why specifically comedy? Because I know you weren't a dork in high school, right? We've talked a little bit about when you were younger. You were like, you were you. I mean,
it was a weird thing where I remember listening to so much of that, like 2012. This will sound so mean, but like the 2012, 2010 kind of like Chicago, New York hoodie comedians, like Pete Holmes, Kumal, like Thomas Middleditch, all comics I really like, and stuff, and them being like, man, but in high school, I remember I was a nerd, and I was like, I can't relate. Where I'm like, I love them, but I'm like, I can't relate to any of what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like, just being a nerd out here, and I was like, I wasn't cool, but I was not a nerd.
No, not a loser.
You know? Yeah, so it's weird. It was very weird to hear that going into stand-up when I was still very impressionable at 18, where I'm like, oh, maybe I won't fit in with any of this.
Yeah.
And then to see people on stage being like, I was bullied by this person, and I have this to say about this bully, and me being
Right.
18 being like, God, you are a fucking nerd. Like,
Yeah, you
watching
are
them
a
be like,
nerd, yeah.
God, you're 30 and I want to bully you.
Right.
Like, holy shit, man.
That's disgusting, yeah.
Yeah.
People talking about bullies while they're 30.
Like,
is-
dog, I'm going to be honest, because I think I fall into the category. Millennials just need to shut the fuck up.
Right.
Holy shit, man.
No one's ever had that take before. Millennials need to pipe down. That's
No one
actually-
this young
that's-
has-
That's a breaking
No one
point.
this young has had that take. It's been a lot of boomers saying that,
true.
but
That's
holy shit, man. They need to shut the fuck up.
Did you do acting when you were younger?
Was that?
Did you do acting when you were younger?
No. Dude, if I did drama,
always-
drama was weird as, those kids were
Super
weird as
strange.
fuck.
Super strange.
Weird as shit.
They love fucking too.
They do.
They love it. They party so
Dog,
hard. When
one
it's
time-
the one time a year they party, they
go
party
so
so hard.
I remember one time, I was like, my friend Alessandro will remember this. You had to take drama in grade 8. You had to do like a test trials of like, you do 3 months of drama, 3 months of sewing, 3 months of woodwork. I remember I had to take drama, and I just remember going into the drama room, like, because we're like, the bell's gonna ring in 5 minutes. Let's just go there early. We didn't know all like the fuck. It was like the downtown east side of the school would hang out in the drama room.
Right.
So then we like walked in, and there was so many fedoras.
Oh,
It's
God.
like 2010, grade 8, so many fedoras, so many like multiple people practicing white people practicing Japanese with each other.
A lot of,
And it
like,
just
snaps
smelled,
and
it just
stuff.
smelled terrible.
Oh,
like it
man.
smelled like BO
Oh yeah,
and
it was
weird.
always so smelly.
And like white people cooked kimchi. Like it just smelled fucking gnarly.
White people cooked kimchi. So accurate.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like anime bro kind of.
Yeah.
I was in theater, but here's the thing. I was in theater every year because I wanted to do anything that was creative
film
or
related
film or at all. Yeah, exactly. And you had to take a bunch of theater stuff as prerequisites to get into the film classes that we had later on. So I was taking all of this stuff, and every year they tried to put me into musical theater. And every year I was in it for about 2 weeks while the process of trying to get switched out happened.
Yeah.
They put me in every year, and I was like, why do you keep doing this? I'm not doing musical theater, because the difference that I could find is like it's all the same stuff that you're saying, but imagine it's 8 a.m., you're getting into class, and somebody's walking in, hello everyone,
Yeah.
let's have a great day, and you're like, you need to pipe the fuck down, because I am mad depressed right now.
Yeah,
I
it was a
cannot
lot.
handle this right
I have like a memory burned into my head
Yeah.
of, I think this girl went on to try stand up a few times,
God.
but she was like a couple years later, and her like walking down the hallway, just in this like foyer area,
Yeah.
being like, like trying to sing and just
Brutal.
like doing what she considered vocal warm-ups. And just what made it so funny was it was just like this dude, probably like 2 years younger, just went, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And like people started clapping. And I was like, yeah, don't. It was
Everybody
like,
clapping.
it felt like such a crabs in a bucket moment where I'm like, look, I know you're trying to strive for something, but get the fuck down here.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Jordan, what time are we at? An hour? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I am going to. I have to pee like a racehorse.
Gotta
I'm gonna
pee,
give you
yeah.
the reins for 1 minute, and then I'll ask our last question, and then we'll be done.
Okay. What, do
Okay.
you want to like ask a question while you go pee? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask a question while I go pee. What was your first set like?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. That's a good question. I get to look right into the camera while I do this one. This feels weird. This feels like someone's about to shoot me in the head after I answer this question. My first set was when I was actually 18 years old, and I had posted on Reddit, like the stand-up subreddit, about how I was like 18, I couldn't get any bars, couldn't get any nightclubs to do any of the sets. And I was like, yeah, I'm in Vancouver. I'm just curious if anyone knows of any places. And they brought up Kino Cafe. And they're like, you can do a show at Kino Cafe. But the thing was, if you got booked on Kino Cafe, Steve, the guy who ran it, would have to have seen you before. So usually he would book you for like a 3-minute spot or whatever. I showed up to this place because this random comedian on Reddit, I don't even think he does stand up anymore. I never figured out who it was. But he was like, come on the Monday. He's like, come on Monday. it was early too. It was like 6 p.m. He's like, there's a joke workshop. So I got on stage and I remember like going to the bathroom before going up, probably 20 minutes, and my eyes were just completely bloodshot. I think it was from nerves or something. I couldn't quite explain it. But I went on stage after watching comedians for about 5 sets, and I realized that it wasn't just a stand-up thing or a set. It was a workshop. So people would do their jokes and people would be like, that one was like, I've seen that before. And you just had to stand there while like comedians were like, I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about in this one. It kind of felt derivative. It was really similar to this person's set. So it was just me being like, I have to go do a set and then I'm going to get fucking annihilated by all these like.
So it wasn't an open mic. It was
no, it was like a workshop.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, I'm about to get annihilated by all these, and not like a stand-up course where everyone's like new and everyone's bright-eyed and there's some teacher that you paid $250 to tell you you're gonna do great. It was like a bunch of older open micers who are like, no, we've been in this for so fucking long,
and they wanted blood.
They wanted blood. And then I went up and I think I talked about being 18 in the set, so I think they kind of toned it down for me.
Right.
They gave me a couple good points, but they were for the most part very kind.
Oh, no, that's
very
good.
kind. I did that probably like 8 or 10 more times until I turned 19.
Well,
and then
because
19,
you couldn't get
I couldn't go anywhere else. Then 19,
Really?
I went to 12 Kings, and I went up after.
That was your first.
That was when it was huge. Like, so many people would go to 12 Kings. It would be like a 40 comic list. And I went up like 42nd. There was like drop-ins.
Jesus, yeah.
And I just got fucking it was horrendous.
Wow.
It was awful.
Okay, so this is interesting because most comics will talk about their first time and it going pretty well, or like at least they won't look back on it very fondly, but they'll say like that the audience had a really good time or they got some kind of like initial big reaction that let them kind of get that like bug. So this kind of fits in perfectly to our kind of final question. So you go and do this 8 to 10 times with the workshop, and it's not, is that like a pretty good experience?
Weirdly,
then?
yes.
Okay, so
and
that's
weirdly
giving
that
you
made
confidence.
me feel even better because I had read so much about stand-up, and I
Okay.
knew that like comedians are the toughest audience.
Yeah.
And so them laughing and then like giving me pointers, and they were very surprisingly with how mean that generation was.
Yeah.
They were very gentle.
Yeah.
That went out the window once I turned like 19.
Of course, yeah.
But they were very gentle at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then your first real open mic on your own, just absolutely.
Oh, it was
Shit.
like I went up, there was maybe like 6 audience members left.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of
That
comedians.
sounds about right for 12 Kings.
Probably probably like 6 or 4 audience members left.
Yeah.
And I just remember like looking, because the host was like, he just turned 19, it's like this, give it up. And I turned 19 like 2 days before.
Yep.
And I just remember this girl in the front who was probably like in her 30s looking at me like, why the fuck did you ever think you could even get on fucking stage? Like, she'd never said anything, but
So
she just had a
angry.
look of like, as I'm telling these like, so I'm a young guy,
Yeah.
I just started learning to shave, and she was just looking at me just with like knuckle tattoos, like, who the fuck do you think you are? And I was like, oh God.
So what makes you, after that moment, what's the rationale? You're 19, you're I'm guessing fairly still insecure about the whole thing at this point. I mean, having a bit of confidence from like the workshop, but it's your first time open mic, it's to a terrible audience. What makes you go and do open mic number 2?
I think it was just because I was like, oh, I can't leave it on that note.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I wanted to do it, and I had read so much about how people are like, you're going to suck when you start. So I kind of was like, I'll suck for a little bit, but I know I'll get better. Like, I remember my mom asking me when I was like 2 years in, she's like, because she had never seen me, and she's like, are you good? And I'm like, no. Like, it was like such a weird moment of honesty being like 2 years in, and she was like, and I was doing okay on shows.
Yeah.
Like, I would do all right. Like, I was getting booked on stuff. I wouldn't tank the room.
Yeah.
I'd probably be like the weakest on the show.
Right.
And my mom just asking me that of like, so are you any good? And just having to be like a 21-year-old or like 20-year-old and been at it for like 2 years and be like, no, but I will be.
So
and then her being like, what? And being like, when I'm 30,
When
I'll
I'm
be
30,
good.
I'm gonna be really good.
Yeah, I was like, when I'm 30, I'll be good. And she was like, the fuck?
And so would you say that the pursuit of you knowing that, like, that you are going to get really good is been your driving
100%.
factor?
Even now.
Right.
Even now.
Even
It's
now.
like, even now, if someone asks me how I am, I'll just say okay.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But then this will sound, once again, very
I'm getting better.
egotistical, but I'm like, but I can see that, like, I'm making strides and getting better.
Because I'm getting-
So I'm fine to do it.
Okay, so
I'm like, even now, someone's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm all right. But also because anytime I've ever heard a comedian say they were funny and be like, yeah, I'm hilarious. I'm like, you're not.
okay, so lesson number 2 on reasons to keep going. You're getting better.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Getting better. And also, like, you know this, now there's never been a point where we control our careers more.
Never.
It's crazy.
I don't think in history.
It is insane.
Other than hunter-gatherer, kind of like where you really got to go out and
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I did like a TV show when I was like 22.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I had maybe like 2-3 people reach out to me. Be like, oh shit, I saw you on like the morning show. And I was like, yeah, cool, man. Now it's like a different one where I've had like way more people be like, oh, your like YouTube video came up on my For You page.
That's
Or like
awesome.
I'll be at a show and someone will be like, I saw you on TikTok. And I'll be like,
So great.
perfect, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and I'm like, that is way more exposure than I would have ever gotten on CBC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I love that though, as because that's what this show's about, is figuring out reasons why we keep going. And
Yeah.
you're getting better at
And
your craft.
I want to get those
pretty good.
spots, you know, man. I want a woman who's like probably 1 year away on her deathbed to just be like, I heard you on the Debaters, and be like, oh great, and then like turn the corner and have like a 75-year-old man with like a dock worker's hat be like, were you on CBC? And you just have to be like, yeah, yes I was, and be like, wow, my grandson showed me how to turn the TV on, and now I can't get enough of it. You know,
That's
I don't
the
know
goal.
why I have
Yeah,
to like
that's the
shit on.
dream. Yeah.
No, not at all.
No,
Holy
okay,
God, no.
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, fuck yeah. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on
man.
and doing this. And,
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, just I'm very excited for this year. 2023 is gonna be a good year.
Gonna be great. It's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be a great winter.
Great year.
Great winter, summer,
Great year.
fall, everything.
Everything.
I don't want to say that because I feel like I jinx so many people being like, gonna be a great summer.
You jinxed a lot of people,
did.
myself included, and it was not a great August, but it
Didn't
was
have a great August.
It was a great September, October, November, and December. So
Fair.
we're just off
Off by a month. Was really off by a month.
Yeah, more off by a month than anybody.
Like I remember you or Jake texting me and being like, "This is not, in fact, a great August."
I texted you that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was making jokes right away. but
Yeah,
then
just
I couldn't-
immediately. It is not Morbin time.
Dude,
I am homeless. Yeah.
exactly. Oh man. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank
Hell
you.
Yeah. Let's kill it.
Hell yeah.